Hello, everyone, and welcome to Daily Grace with Pastor James. Thank you for joining me in this episode. Today, we are going to look at relying completely on God. Relying completely on God. When you look at life struggles sometimes can make us feel exhausted and discouraged, and then drawing us to focus our attention on our doubts. And that sometimes can be extremely draining for us. I don't know about you, but I've gone through a series of such situations. And of course, we might then try harder and harder to focus our attention or to see how we can get things resolved faster than normal, thinking that somehow we'll be able to fit it, somehow we'll be able to sort it out, somehow we'll be able to make things work in our own way. But life is not meant to be like that, because it's like the more we struggle in such situations, the more we are drained in our strength, the more we are drained in anything that we are doing. But the Lord Himself wants us to rely completely on Him, because that is His work to do and not yours. That's exactly what Proverbs 3:5-6 is telling us. It says, trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways, it says, submit to Him, and He would make your path straight. The Lord actually wants to help you. The Lord wants to help me in everything that we are doing. He does not want us to be self-reliant. Of course, in this world that we are in today, we discover that we all want to be self-reliant, and that is what the society itself is pushing us to be self-reliant and to be independent. But the Lord wants us to wholeheartedly just trust in Him, and He will be able to see us through. So how can we do that? How can we do that? The first thing that you need to do, if you really want the Lord to come into your situation and sort you out, is for you to completely rely on Him. Understand that word, completely relying on God. What does it mean? The first thing is trust. You want to trust the Lord. And what does trust mean? Trust simply means placing completely your confidence and your faith in God's character, in God's promises, and in God's plan for your life, for my life, because that is what He wants us to do. His character is a faithful God. He will never disappoint you. His promises, He has promised that He will be with us till the end of the earth. And His plans, He says, His plans for us are of good and not of evil. And the psalmist tells us in Psalm 37, verse 5, he says, commit your ways to the Lord, trust in Him, and He will do this. He will bring His promise in your life to pass. And when we say trust the Lord, you need to trust the Lord wholeheartedly with all your heart. God calls us to trust Him with all our heart, not just part of our heart. In other words, we need to surrender totally to Him, to His plans and what He wants to do. And then we need to get every fear, every doubt out of our mind. Put your doubts aside, put your fears aside, put your understanding aside, and just trust in God. Jeremiah 17:7-8 says, but blessed is the one who trusts in the Lord, whose confidence is in Him. They will be like a tree planted by the water and seeds out of its roots by the stream. It does not fear when heat comes. Its leaves are always green. It has no worries in a year of drought and never fails to bear fruit. I pray into your life you will never fail to bear fruit. I pray into your life you will not fail, no matter the circumstances that you are going through right now. So long as you trust in the Lord according to His word, He would see you through. And the second thing is the pitfalls of self-reliance. See, when you rely on yourself, when you rely on your own strength, there are always pitfalls. leaning on your own understanding. Our understanding is limited. I don't even know beyond this moment. The next 5 minutes, the next 10 minutes, next day, I don't even know what is going to happen because my understanding is limited. But we serve a God who has seen even the end from the beginning. So don't lean on your own understanding, but lean on God's understanding and His word. Isaiah 55, 8-9 says, "For my thoughts are not your thoughts, neither are your ways my ways, declares the Lord. As the heavens are higher than the earth, so are my ways higher than your ways, and my thoughts than your thoughts." You see, sometimes what we are going through, Lord is just using it to pave way for us. It's using it as a testimony to His faithfulness in our lives. When you are self-reliant, you are under the illusion that you are that you are in control, but you are never in control of anything. Honestly, you are never in control of anything. It's just a false sense of being in control, and that is why we want to do things our way and not God's way. Psalmist in Psalm 20 verse 7, it says, "Some trust in the chariots and some in horses, but we trust in the name of the Lord our God." And when you trust in the name of the Lord your God, Isaiah says in Isaiah 40:31, it says, "But those who trust in the Lord will find new strength." That is where you find new strength. That is exactly where you find new strength. So what are the practical steps that you can take to completely rely on the Lord? The first thing is total submission. Submit all your ways to the Lord, just like we read in the beginning in Proverbs. Submit all your ways to the Lord. Acknowledge Him in anything that you are doing. Pray and have this discerning heart, because sometimes we don't have a discerning heart. Pray regularly and seek God's will for your life. Not your will, but God's will, that it should come to pass. And then submit your plans to God's hands and God's plan. Philippians 4, you can read that on your own, 6-7. That says, "Do not be anxious about anything." Yes, I know we are humans, and sometimes we can be anxious about things that are going on. Even me, sometimes I do that. But the Lord is telling us that do not be anxious about anything. It's encouraging us to present our request to God with thanksgiving. Are you presenting that request, that thing that you're going through today, to God with thanksgiving? You need to daily depend on God. And so what are the benefits of you relying upon the Lord? You will have divine direction, because it's going to give you the path for you to go through. Psalm 32 verse 8 says, "I will instruct you and teach you in the ways that you should go." And then when you rely on God, you have peace and assurance in your hearts. That peace that sometimes surpasses all understanding. Even when you are going through challenges, you have peace. It is because you are relying on God, and then His strength comes when you are weak. In your weakness, His strength is made strong. There are so many people in the Bible with testimonies of when they rely on the Lord, what happened. Abraham is one of them. Genesis 15. Verse 6, "Abraham believed in the Lord, and He credited it to him as in righteousness." Daniel is another person who believed in God. Despite the decree, he still went ahead to do what he needs to do, because he needs to serve his God. You can read Daniel 6, verse 23. So, brethren, I want to appeal to you to always trust in the Lord. Acknowledge Him and submit to His will. Thank you very much for listening to me in this episode. My name is Pastor James Egodibe, and I pastor RCCG Solid Rock Parish, Derby, 55 Woods Lane, DE 22 3UD. If you are looking for a Bible-believing church, we have wonderful brethren who welcome you with an open hand. We'll be looking to welcome you one day to worship with us. Thank you, and God bless you. Bye.